Jake Morrison felt small as he walked into the huge meeting room. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that sparkled in the light from 3 different suns. I'd never seen anything like it back on Earth. Behind him, Admiral Lisa Carter and General Pete Williams tried to look brave, but Jake could tell they were nervous too. The room was filled with aliens. Hundreds of them. Some looked like giant bugs with 4 arms. Others floated in the air like jellyfish made of metal. There were lizard people with shiny scales and bird-like creatures with feathers that changed colors. Jake had studied pictures of all these alien races, but seeing them in person was different. They were all much more advanced than humans. The leader of the meeting was a tall bug creature called the Vorth Chancellor. He had big round eyes, like a fly, and made clicking sounds when he talked. A machine turned his clicks into words that Jake could understand. These humans want to protect their space with something they call Project Lighthouse, the Chancellor said. His voice sounded like he was making fun of them. They have rockets that use chemicals to fly. They have bombs that split atoms. They have devices that make electrical pulses. How cute. The other aliens started making sounds. Jake realized they were laughing at him and his team. The floating jellyfish alien pulsed with bright colors. Maybe we should give them some rocks and sticks, too, it said. Jake felt his hands turn into fists. He wanted to punch something, but he knew that would not help. Had been given one chance to show the galaxy that humans could protect their part of space. The aliens had only agreed to listen because humans had just learned how to travel between stars. The problem was something called the HFY swarm. It was a group of living spaceships that ate entire planets. They had been destroying star systems for hundreds of years. Now they were coming toward Earth. The Alien Council said humans had to prove they could fight the swarm, or they would move all humans to other planets where they would work as slaves. Amy Rodriguez stepped forward. She was Earth's smartest scientist and had helped design Project Lighthouse. She carried a small computer with all their plans on it. "Respected council members," Amy said politely, "may I please explain how our defense system works?" "No need," said a huge lizard alien with scales that had tiny lights in them. "We've seen enough. Earth's defense plan is rejected. We will take as many humans as we can before the swarm arrives. Your people can live on colony worlds, but you will have to work for the smarter races." Admiral Carter stepped forward. Her face was red with anger. "With respect, we did not ask you to save us. We came here to tell you that we will use our defense plan whether you approve or not." The room went quiet for a moment. Then all the aliens started laughing, even louder than before. The bug chancellor's mouth parts moved up and down rapidly. "Go ahead, little humans," he said. "Try to fight the swarm. It will be fun to watch. We will record it for our entertainment files." Jake felt his heart sink. This was not how he had hoped the meeting would go. For 5 years, ever since humans had first met aliens, Earth's best scientists and military leaders had been working on Project Lighthouse. They had spent billions of dollars and used the smartest people on the planet. But to these aliens, it all looked like toys. The Chancellor waved one of his 4 hands. "This meeting is over. Humans, you have 6 months before the swarm reaches your system. Use that time wisely. Perhaps learn to make pottery or weave baskets. Those skills might be useful on the colony worlds." More laughter filled the room. Jake, Lisa, and Pete walked out with their heads down. Amy followed behind them, still holding her computer full of plans that no one wanted to hear. Outside the meeting room, they sat on a bench made of the same crystal as the walls. Other aliens walked by, talking in languages that sounded like music or buzzing or roaring. None of them paid attention to the 4 humans. "Well, that went badly," Pete said. "They did not even let us explain," Amy said. "They saw our rockets and bombs and decided we were too primitive to understand." Lisa shook her head. "Maybe that is good. Maybe it is better if they think we are weak." Jake looked at his 3 friends. These were some of the smartest and bravest people on Earth. If they could not convince the aliens, nobody could. "Do you think our plan will really work?" Jake asked quietly. Amy smiled for the first time since they had arrived. "Jake, these aliens are very smart, but they made one big mistake. They think they know everything about human technology just from looking at our basic tools. They never asked us why we still use rockets when we could build something better. Why do we? Pete asked. Because sometimes the best way to hide something is to put it right in front of everyone, Amy said. The aliens saw what they expected to see. They saw primitive humans with simple weapons. They never looked deeper. Jake felt a little better. Maybe their plan would work after all. Maybe the aliens would be surprised when they saw what humans could really do. How long until the swarm gets to Earth? He asked. 6 months, Lisa said. 6 months to get ready for the biggest fight in human history. As they walked back to their small spaceship for the long trip home, Jake thought about Earth. He thought about his wife and kids waiting for him. He thought about all the people who were counting on them to keep the planet safe. The aliens had laughed at Earth's defense plan. Soon they would see if they were right to laugh, or if humans had surprises that even the smartest aliens could not imagine. The trip back to Earth would take 2 weeks. That would give them time to think about. What came next? The Devour Swarm was coming, and humanity would be ready. 3 months had passed since Jake Morrison and his team returned from the Alien Council meeting. Now he stood on a space station called Defender 1, looking out at Earth through a big window. The planet looked peaceful and blue, like a marble, floating in space. But Jake knew that soon this peaceful view would change forever. Defender 1 was one of 12 space stations that humans had built around their solar system. To anyone watching from far away, the stations looked ordinary and simple. They had basic weapons and simple computers. It's nothing special at all. But Jake knew the truth about what was really inside each station. "Final check complete, Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Ben Murphy through the radio. "All lighthouse stations are working perfectly." Jake nodded and continued watching the space around Earth. Hundreds of spaceships were flying back and forth between Earth and the other planets. The ships looked like they were carrying people away from Earth, to the aliens watching from far away. It looked like humans were running away in fear. The Alien Council had even said nice things about how humans were being smart by leaving their planet. They had sent extra ships to help move people. The aliens thought humans had finally accepted that they could not win against the Devour Swarm. But Jake knew better. Those ships were not carrying scared people running away. They were carrying soldiers and weapons to secret positions all around the solar system. Dr. Amy Rodriguez walked over to stand next to Jake at the window. She looked tired, but excited. "The aliens with the metal sensors just found the swarm's first ships," she said. "Ow." "They will be here in 1 week. And our surprise?" Jake asked. "Hidden everywhere, just like we planned. Every ship that looks like it is running away. Every weapon that looks simple and weak. Every piece of technology that the aliens think is primitive." Amy smiled in a way that was both happy and scary. "The council was so busy laughing at our chemical rockets and atomic bombs that they never looked closer." A blue light appeared. In the air next to them, it was General Pete Williams speaking from the command center on Earth's moon. His image looked real, even though he was far away. "Jake, we just got news from the council," Pete said. "They are moving all their watching stations far away from our solar system. They say they want to be safe while they record humans fighting and losing." "Perfect," Jake said. "The fewer alien ships near us when we start, the better." "Any news from Colonel Mike Turner and his spy team?" "Turner's team has been following the swarm for weeks. They say the main enemy force is 3 days behind the first ships. If we can beat the first group, we will have time to get ready for the big fight." Amy made a light appear in the air that showed their whole solar system. Thousands of tiny red dots were scattered everywhere around all the planets. Every red dot is a piece of Project Lighthouse. Council thinks we are moving 12 billion people to safety. They have no idea we are really putting 12 billion fighters into position. Jake looked at all the red dots. Each one represented a human being who had volunteered for the most dangerous mission in history. Men and women who had left their families and jobs to hide in fake cargo ships and pretend to be scared refugees. People who had agreed to have strange machines put in their brains so they could all think together when the time came. "Are you sure the brain connections will work?" Jake asked Amy. "We tested them 100 times, Amy said. "When we turn on Project Lighthouse, Every human in the solar system will be connected. We will think as one person, but each of us will still be ourselves. We'll have the power of 12 billion minds working together. Pete's image looked serious. The aliens never asked us how we got so many people to volunteer for this mission. They think humans are too selfish to work together. That was their biggest mistake, Jake said. They judged us by their own standards. Most alien races fight alone or follow orders from a central command. They do not understand that humans can choose to work together while still being individuals.
Amy
Pulled up another display showing the edge of their solar system. The early warning sensors are picking up strange readings. The swarm's scout ships are almost here. After months of preparation, the real test was about to begin. He thought about all the humans hiding throughout the solar system, waiting for his signal to reveal their true nature. How many people know the complete plan, he asked. Just the three of us and a few others, Pete said. Everyone else knows their part, but not the whole picture. It is safer that way. Amy nodded. The cargo ship crews think they are carrying weapons to different positions. Space station teams think they are operating defense platforms. Evacuation ship passengers think they are fleeing to safety. Only we know that they are all part of one giant weapon. Gake looked out at Earth one more time. Somewhere down there, his wife and children were waiting in one of the underground shelters. They thought he was in charge of a desperate last stand against impossible odds. They had no idea that he was actually commanding the most powerful weapon ever created by any species in the galaxy. The Alien Council will get quite a surprise, Pete said with a grin. I almost feel sorry for them, Amy said. They have spent so long thinking they are smarter than everyone else that they forgot to actually pay attention. Jake activated his communication system and sent a message to every hidden human position in the solar system.
All stations.
This is Lighthouse Control. Enemy contact in 6 days. Prepare for activation sequence. Remember, we are not just fighting for Earth. We are fighting to show the galaxy what humans can do when we work together. Thousands of voices answered back through the hidden network. Voices from cargo ships and space stations, from asteroid mines and evacuation vessels. All of them ready to reveal the truth about human technology and human cooperation the Devour Swarm was coming to destroy Earth. But they were about to learn that humans were not the primitive species the galaxy thought they were. They were about to discover that sometimes the best defense is to let your enemy think you are weak, right up until the moment you show them how wrong they are. Jake smiled as he watched another evacuation ship fly past the window. Inside that ship were not frightened refugees, but some of Earth's best soldiers with weapons that would surprise even the smartest aliens. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's defense plan. Soon they would see who was really laughing. The enemy ships appeared out of nowhere like a disease spreading across the stars. The Devour Swarm's first attack force came out of hyperspace in a formation that had destroyed countless worlds before. Each bioship was as big as a small moon, covered in thick armor that looked like the shell of a giant bug. Weapons stuck out from their surfaces like thorns on a deadly plant. There were 57 of them. More than enough to turn Earth's solar system into dust. Commander Sarah Brooks sat in the control room of a ship called Unity's Hope to anyone watching. It looked like a cargo ship full of scared people running away from Earth. The people on board were crying and praying and acting terrified. But Sarah knew the truth. Every person on her ship was actually a highly trained soldier. The crying refugees were really Earth's best fighters, and their ship was packed with hidden weapons. Enemy ships confirmed, Sarah whispered into her secret. Radio 57 bioships, exactly like our spies said. They're moving toward the inner planets in their standard attack pattern. Back on Defender 1, Jake Morrison received Sarah's message and felt his heart start beating faster. This was the moment everything depended on. Everything humans had worked for during the past 5 years since they first met the aliens. All stations, this is Lighthouse Control, Jake said, into his hidden communication system that connected every human in the solar system. Operation Daybreak starts now. Repeat, Daybreak is active. All around the solar system, 12 billion points of light suddenly turned on like stars being born. Every evacuation ship, Every cargo vessel, every space station and asteroid mining platforms showed what they really were. The chemical rockets that the aliens had laughed at were actually fusion engines disguised by fake computer images. The nuclear weapons they had made fun of were really antimatter bombs hidden by holographic projectors. The simple electrical devices were actually quantum machines that could tear holes in space itself. But the real secret of Project Lighthouse was not any single weapon. It was the network connecting all the humans together. 12 billion human minds, each one made stronger by quantum computer chips in their brains, suddenly joined into one giant intelligence. Every ship, every station, every weapon was now controlled by humanity's combined thinking power. The Devour Swarm had eaten many worlds and destroyed countless species, but they had never fought an enemy that could think and move as one being, while still keeping the creativity and smart thinking of 12 billion different people. The first attack from Earth was quiet and sneaky. Quantum machines hidden inside communication satellites began targeting the bioship's nervous systems. The enemy ships suddenly could not see or hear properly. Their organic sensors were confused by false signals, and their bioneural networks were scrambled like eggs. Then came the hammer blow. Every human ship in the system opened fire at exactly the same time. Their weapons were coordinated with perfect mathematical precision. Antimatter warheads appeared inside bioship armor through tiny wormholes in space. Energy beams hit from 17 different directions at once. Overwhelming organic defenses that had never faced such a coordinated attack. The bioships had fought many battles, but they had always faced enemies who attacked one ship at a time or small groups working together. They had never encountered an enemy where every single weapon was part of one giant brain. Sarah watched through her ship's sensors as the first enemy bioship exploded. The massive creature had been hit by over 100 different weapons in the same second. Its thick armor cracked like an eggshell, and green fluid poured out into space. "Target destroyed," she reported, moving to next target. But even as she spoke, her ship was already moving. Because she had given the order. But because the network of human minds had decided where every ship needed to be. Sarah was still herself, still in command of her vessel. But she was also part of something much bigger. Jake felt the battle through thousands of different viewpoints at once. Through Sarah's eyes, he saw a bioship exploding. Through Commander Tony Martinez on the cargo ship New Dawn, he watched antimatter bombs appearing inside enemy armor. Through Lieutenant Colonel Kate Wilson on the asteroid platform Fortress Rock, he observed energy beams slicing through bioship weapons. It was like being 12 billion people at the same time, while still being himself. The enemy tried to fight back, but their weapons were designed to destroy individual targets, not coordinate with each other. Their bioships fired powerful energy blasts and launched living missiles, but human ships were no longer where the enemies expected them to be. The network allowed humans to predict where every enemy shot would go and move out of the way, before the weapons were even fired. It was like fighting against someone who could see the future in 30 seconds. 42 of the 57 bioships were completely destroyed. The remaining 15 were damaged and confused. They tried to run away, only to discover that human ships had quietly surrounded them during the battle. The bioships, organic computers, tried to send a message back to their main fleet, warning them about Earth's real defenses. But quantum jammers disguised as space debris blocked their signals. No message would reach the main swarm fleet. Jake watched through 1,000 different sensors as the last enemy ship was destroyed. Pieces of bioship armor floated in space, like the remains of dead whales. Green fluid from their organic systems formed clouds that sparkled in the light from Earth's sun. "All targets eliminated," he announced to the network. "Operation Daybreak complete." Around the solar system, 12 billion human voices cheered at the same time. But the celebration was short. This had only been the advance force. Real Tess was still coming. Amy Rodriguez appeared next to Jake, her image projected from the command center on Luna. "Jake, our deep space sensors are picking up the main fleet. 2,000 bioships, including their mothership. They will be here in 3 days." Jake nodded. The Swarm Mother was legendary throughout the galaxy. A bioship the size of a planet that had personally eaten over 100 star systems. No single species had ever faced her and lived to tell about it. Let them come, Jake said. We have shown that Project Lighthouse works against their advance. Scouts, now we will show the galaxy what happens when you underestimate humanity. The Alien Council's monitoring stations, positioned at what they thought was a safe distance, had recorded the entire battle. Soon, representatives from 200 different species would see the recordings and realize they had made a terrible mistake about Earth's defense capabilities, but that was tomorrow's problem. Today, humanity had won its first victory against the most feared enemy in the galaxy. The Devourer Swarm's advance fleet was destroyed, and not a single human ship had been lost. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's defense plan. They would have to take humanity seriously. News about the Devourer Swarm's defeat spread through the galaxy faster than light itself. On the Alien Council world of Zarian Prime, emergency meetings were called as reports came in from the automatic watching stations that had been placed at what the aliens thought was a safe distance from Earth's solar system. The Vorth. Chancellor's big round eyes stared at the holographic pictures showing what remained after the battle. Where 57 bioships had entered Earth's system, now only floating pieces remained. Meanwhile, all the human ships seemed to be perfectly fine. This cannot be possible, said the floating jellyfish alien, its metal body flickering with disbelief. The bioship's armor has survived attacks from our strongest fleets. How could primitive chemical rockets break through their defenses? Admiral Lisa Carter's face appeared on the communication screen. She looked professional, but Jake could see she was satisfied with how things had gone. Respected council members, Earth's government wants to officially report that we have successfully defended our space sector against the Devourer Swarm's advanced fleet. Explain this, demanded the big lizard alien, leaning forward in his chair. Our sensors detected massive energy explosions from your system, far beyond anything your species should be able to create. With respect, Lisa replied, Earth's defensive abilities were correctly presented to this council 3 months ago. Project Lighthouse worked exactly as we designed it. The Chancellor's mouth parts clicked rapidly in confusion. You told us? You had chemical rockets and nuclear weapons? Our sensors detected antimatter explosions and quantum disruption fields, chemical rockets using antimatter fuel, nuclear weapons with quantum improvements. We never lied about our technology. Just let you make assumptions about how advanced it was. Dr. Amy Rodriguez joined the communication, her face serious. The basic problem with the Council's judgment was thinking that technology always develops in a straight line. You saw our use of chemical rockets and nuclear reactions and assumed we were primitive, and never considered that we might have advanced beyond those technologies and gone back to them for strategic reasons. A new voice joined the Council meeting as Colonel Mike. Turner's spy team sent a message from the edge of Earth's solar system. Council members, this is Earth's Deep Space Command. We have the main Devourer Swarm fleet on our sensors. They will arrive in 18 hours. 2,000 bioships, including the Swarm Mother herself. The council room went completely silent. The Swarm Mother was famous throughout the galaxy. A bioship the size of a small planet that had personally eaten over 100 star systems. No single species had ever faced her and survived to tell the story. Admiral Carter, the Chancellor, spoke slowly. Earth's government might want to think again about evacuation. The main fleet is beyond anything your species has ever fought. Lisa's smile was cold and confident. Chancellor, the advanced fleet was just our practice round. We have been preparing specifically for the Swarm Mother. Tomorrow, this council will see why Earth's defense plan deserves respect instead of laughter. On Earth, Jake Morrison stood in a meeting room with the planet's top military leaders. Maps and charts covered the walls, showing the positions of every human ship and weapon platform in the solar system. But Jake knew that the real battle would not be won with ships or guns. Status report, he said to the room full of generals and admirals. General Pete Williams pointed to a display showing the outer edge of the solar system. Turner's reconnaissance team confirms the main fleet's approach. The Swarm Mother is leading them personally. Intelligence suggests she has never been defeated in over 1 million years of existence. What makes her so dangerous? Asked Admiral Carter, who had just returned from the council meeting. Amy Rodriguez activated a holographic display, showing a massive bioship surrounded by smaller vessels. The Swarm Mother is not just big. She is the central brain that controls all the other bioships. When she dies, they all die. But she has survived this long because she learns from every battle. She adapts her tactics and improves her defenses. Then we will have to show her something she has never seen before, Jake said. Amy smiled. That is exactly what we plan to do. The Swarm Mother expects to fight individual ships or small fleets working together. She has never faced an enemy that thinks as one mind while maintaining the creativity of billions of individuals. Jake looked around the room at Earth's best military minds. These people had spent years preparing for this moment. They had designed weapons that looked primitive, but were actually more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. They had created a network that could connect every human mind while still allowing each person to remain themselves. How many people are connected to the Lighthouse Network now? He asked. 12,400,000,000, Amy replied. Every adult human in the solar system, plus volunteer children over 16. Each one has a quantum neural interface that allows them to join the collective consciousness while maintaining their individual identity. General Williams frowned.
Oh?
Are you sure the network can handle that many minds during combat? The test runs only used a few million people. The network grows stronger with more participants, Amy explained. 12 billion minds thinking together can solve problems that no supercomputer could handle. But more importantly, 12 billion different viewpoints means 12 billion different ways to approach any challenge. Jake activated his communication system and sent a message to every human position in the solar system through the network. He could feel the thoughts and emotions of billions of people. Fear, excitement, determination, hope, all mixed together into something that was both human and more than human. All stations, this is Lighthouse Control. The main enemy fleet arrives. Tomorrow, this is what we have been preparing for. The galaxy thinks we are primitive. The Swarm Mother thinks we are just another species to consume. Tomorrow, we show them both how wrong they are. The response came back not as voices, but as a feeling that swept through the network. 12 billion people agreeing, preparing, focusing their minds on the coming battle, on distant Zarian Prime. The Alien Council members were having emergency meetings with their home governments. Some wanted to send fleets to help Earth. Others wanted to evacuate the entire sector before. The Swarm Mother arrived. Few suggested that maybe they should start taking humans more seriously, but it was too late for any of those options. The Swarm Mother was already on her way, confident that she would add Earth to her long list of conquered worlds. She had no idea that she was about to face something completely new in her. 1,000,000 years of existence, the galaxy would soon learn. What happened when humanity stopped pretending to be weak and showed their true strength? The species that had been laughed at was about to become the galaxy's greatest protector. Tomorrow would decide whether Earth survived or joined the countless dead worlds that marked the Swarm Mother's path through the stars. The Swarm Mother came out of hyperspace like a living nightmare. Her massive bioship body pulsed with the stolen life force of countless dead worlds. She was the size of a small planet, covered in thick organic armor that had grown stronger. With each world she consumed, around her 2,000 bioships formed a cloud of death that had broken the greatest empires in galactic history. But as the Swarm Mother began moving toward Earth's solar system, she encountered something she had never experienced in her 1,000,000-year life. A system that fought back with perfect coordination. Jake Morrison stood in the command center of Defender 1. But his mind was also present in every human ship throughout the solar system. Through 12 billion connected minds working as one, he could see the battle from scales that no single person could imagine. Lighthouse Network at full power, Amy Rodriguez reported, though her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. All stations report perfect quantum connection. Battle began not with weapons, but with information. As the swarm approached, every human sensor in the system started analyzing the bioships with incredible precision. The combined intelligence of 12 billion minds processed data faster than any computer ever built. They identified weak points, predicted movement patterns, and calculated the best attack methods in real time. "Starting Phase 1, Jake announced, his words spoken simultaneously by every human in the system. The first surprise came from the evacuation ships that had left the system months earlier. They suddenly slowed down and turned around, revealing themselves to be disguised battleships that had positioned themselves perfectly behind the swarm fleet. The scared refugees on each ship were actually elite military units, and their vessels were equipped with humanity's most advanced weapons. Swarm Mother's bioneural network registered confusion as her fleet found itself caught between two forces. But her confusion turned to shock as Phase 2 began. Throughout the solar system, asteroids that had been ignored as space rocks suddenly activated. Each one was actually a hidden weapons platform, connected to the Lighthouse network and armed. With experimental quantum weapons, the asteroid belt itself became a massive gun, with all its weapons coordinated with inhuman precision. "Phase 3, Jake commanded. And the true nature of Project Lighthouse revealed itself. The 12 billion human minds in the network suddenly focused their collective will on a single target, the Swarm Mother herself, using quantum connection. Principles scaled up to unprecedented levels. Humanity's consciousness reached out across space and began to invade the Swarm Mother's bioneural network. For the first time in her existence, the ancient creature felt something entering her mind. But where other species had tried to fight the swarm with technology alone, humanity brought something unique. The power of individual creativity multiplied. By collective intelligence, 12 billion different perspectives, 12 billion unique solutions, all working together toward a single goal. The Swarm Mother's scream echoed across multiple dimensions as humanity's network began to tear apart. Her consciousness from within, her bioships dependent on her neural commands, began to lose coordination and drift aimlessly. Jake could feel the ancient creature's mind through the network. She was old, incredibly old, and filled with the memories of a billion conquered worlds. But she had never faced an enemy like humanity. She was one mind controlling many bodies, but humans were many minds choosing to work as one. That choice, that voluntary cooperation, made them stronger than any force in the galaxy. "Phase 4, Jake announced, and every human weapon in the system fired at exactly the same moment. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, the Swarm Mother was dead. Her massive bioship formed dark and lifeless in space. Of the 2,000 bioships that had entered the system, none survived to carry news of their defeat to whatever remained of the swarm in distant galaxies. Commander." Sarah Brooks watched from her ship as the enemy fleet dissolved into floating debris. The bioships had simply stopped working when their mother died, like a body losing its brain. 12 billion human minds had accomplished what no species in galactic history had ever managed. In the council chambers of Zarian Prime, Bro representatives from 200 species watched in complete silence as the human fleet regrouped and began cleanup operations. The Devour Swarm, the terror that had haunted the galaxy for thousands of years, had been not just defeated but completely destroyed. Admiral Lisa Carter appeared on the Council's communication system, her expression calm and professional. "Respected Council members, Earth's government hereby reports the successful completion of our defensive operations. The Devour Swarm has been eliminated as a threat to this galaxy." The Vorth Chancellor's mouthparts trembled as he spoke. How? How did a species we classified as primitive accomplish what our combined fleets could not? "You made the mistake of judging our technology by your own standards," Lisa replied. "You saw our tools and assumed we were limited by them. But humanity's greatest weapon was never our ships or our guns. It was our ability to work together while staying individual, to coordinate without losing creativity, to unite without giving up the diversity that makes us strong." Dr. Amy Rodriguez joined the transmission, her expression thoughtful. "The Swarm Mother was powerful because she was one mind controlling many bodies. But we are many minds choosing to work as one. That choice, that voluntary cooperation made us stronger than any force in the galaxy." Jake felt the network beginning to disconnect as the immediate danger passed. 12 billion minds slowly separated back into individual consciousness, but the memory of their unity remained. They had proven something important, not just to the galaxy, but to themselves. On distant worlds throughout the galaxy, alien governments began emergency sessions to discuss what humanity's victory meant. Some wanted to form alliances with Earth. Others feared what humans might do with their newfound power. All of them realized they had seriously underestimated the species they had once laughed at as the council session ended, and representatives began the long journey back to their home worlds. Humanity's message spread throughout the galactic community. Earth's defense plan had succeeded not through superior technology, but through superior cooperation. The species that the galaxy had mocked had just saved them all. And in the depths of space, where the Swarm Mother's bioship drifted lifeless among the debris of her fleet, a small message appeared on its hull, burned there by human quantum weapons, in letters that would survive for millions of years. Here lies the Swarm Mother, defeated not by the strongest weapons, but by the united will of Earth's children. Let all who find this remember, never underestimate the power of humanity working together. The galaxy would never laugh at Earth again. Instead, it would remember the day that 12 billion human minds proved that cooperation was the strongest force in the universe,